Hello, you join us just about 15 minutes before we close down the phone lines for tonight, but already we've had a really remarkable response. And I mean, not just in terms of quantity of calls, though we've had well over 500. Actually, as far as I know, it could be climbing well towards 1,000 now, but in terms of quality as well. Sue?
Well, we'll start with photocall. We showed some faces of people wanted in connection with armed robberies and frauds. Here's Superintendent David Hatcher. David, first of all, there was the Building Society robber with the barber hat and the beige jacket.
Yes, he'd done 8 building societies and got away with £12,500. Well, we've had nearly 20 calls on him, Sue, including people giving the same name. In fact, 6 people have phoned up giving us the same name for him, and we've had requests to see him again. Well, let's hope that comes good.
Right. What about Alison Anders, wanted for questioning in connection with an attempted fraud?
Yes, a poor response there numerically. We've had 3 calls, sightings allegedly of her in a public house in Maidstone. Now, that may well be possible because she originates from Kent, so anybody who thinks they've seen her, call us. Also some interesting background information to add to what we know.
Right. Then there were the 2 men who stole a Cayman rotivator from a hire shop in Biggleswade, and earlier we heard that there was an address on that one.
Yes, in fact, we've had 10 people call up offering us the same name and address for one of the offenders. That's the younger chap on the left, and we've now got a name and address for the second man there, the older man. Again, if you think you know who they are, still call us, because we'd like to know who the third man was in their getaway minibus.
And Leslie Baptiste?
Yes, request to see him again. Again, we've had a suggestion, and again in my home county of Kent, where he's allegedly a barman in a public house.
Popular county, yours tonight. David, thank you for the moment.
Let's go now to the big armed robbery in Preston. The manager of the NatWest Bank was kidnapped there. His family was held hostage, and the gang then gained access to the vault and made off with over £500,000. Mr. Walmsley, you have hardly come off the phone since we came off the air.
True, it's been very hectic. In total, we have 166 responses to the appeal on the television. Roughly half and half. Half have been received in the incident room at Preston and the remainder here in London.
You've sorted them out into 2 batches. Why?
Yes. Well, I'm talking about an immediate response and a pending one. These in my left hand here are immediate actions which need some kind of resolving this or in the next 24 hours. And to this end, I've telephoned the details through to the incident room at Preston, and they're being actioned immediately.
That includes, I've seen you taking a number of individual names, addresses and so forth that you've been very excited about because they fit a pattern.
That's right. Well, as you're aware, we have the Home system in operation at Preston, which is a computerised system. And some of the names which I've seen amongst this pile here, I'm certain, are amongst our names within the computer system.
You were anxious to trace a red Ford Escort van that was used in the robbery, and do you think you know now where that van was stored?
Well, we've had 2 telephone calls to indicate that the van has been seen undercover immediately prior to the robbery in East Lancashire, in premises in East Lancashire. And that information, of course, is in our Yes bundle.
OK, and the white van that could have been used in the robbery as well, I gather that might have been recovered.
Yes, I'm reliably advised from Preston that 2 positive sightings and 2 people have come up who say they own a van of similar dimensions, and we're hopeful that it'll either be eliminated from the inquiry or will stand us in good stead.
It's quite remarkable, on a case that's had so much publicity already, that you're still getting this quality of information this far after the event.
I would agree with you, but don't forget we have £50,000 as a reward on offer, plus the 10% we mentioned before. And I would like to take this opportunity to emphasising now, I am prepared to meet anyone, anytime, at a place of their choosing, to discuss serious and sensible information that will lead to the arrest and conviction of these people. And, of course, the money will be paid by the NatWest Bank.
Mr. Walmsley, thank you very much. Sue?
Well, our next case is the murder of a civil servant in North London. Michael Williams worked for the Home Office, and on a Friday night in August, after drinking with some friends from work, he took a late tube home to Highgate or to East Finchley. Michael's body was found next morning in Highgate Woods. He'd been killed by a single karate blow. Peter Wilton's in charge of the case. You've had one call in particular that you're very interested in, haven't you?
Yes, anonymous caller phoned Sue to say that he in fact found the access card in Highgate Wood and actually used it himself. He was very worried on the phone. I would ask him not to be worried, to phone us again, and we'll talk to him in the strictest confidence.
This is the man who used the credit card, the access card, in the restaurant?
That's what he states, right. Yes. Ask him to ring immediately.
Please, we do need some more details from you. And the other thing is that you wanted to call on you had some calls on the video fit of the man seen standing in Highgate Woods.
Yes, and I think a lot of people asked if they could see the artist's impression again, so if that could be done.
This was very peculiar behaviour. He seemed to be in some kind of trance, and it was 6 o'clock in the morning. So if you've seen him, please call us again. Nick?
OK, let's now look at the raids on the Gomshall Tanner. Incidentally, before we do, let me just point out it's Mr Dick's retirement in this case. He's retiring at the age of about 35, so we particularly hope we're going to solve that case. But the Gomshall raid, no less than 4 raids on the Gomshall Leather Company premises over a period of 2 years. In the latest, at the beginning of September, 2 men made off with over £80,000 worth of high-grade leather. Now, and all these raids have netted well over £250,000 worth. Mr Hunt, I gather you've had an extraordinary amount of information, given how difficult it is to crack this one, since so many of these people, presumably, will have set these things up in advance with receivers. It's a very professional ring.
We have had some good information, which we're very, very hopeful may lead to the recovery of a large amount of the stolen skins. We've had, for instance, we've also had 3 phone calls of people say that they know the offender depicted in the video fit, and we've also got a line of inquiry to follow up in relation to the van. So we're very, very happy.
Better than you'd hoped?
Indeed, we've had over 50 calls.
Good. I'm delighted. Thanks very much indeed. Sue.
Well, finally tonight, incident desk, and David Hatch has been taking the calls on that too. Now, the first man who attacked the owner of a firm with an axe during a burglary.
Yes, we showed you a photo fit of one of the men. We've got some information on who he might be. In fact, 3 people have called up about him, suggesting names. We've also got suggestions as to the origin of the stereo and the bag that we showed you with CB Sports on it. But what I want to re-emphasise is this axe, Sue. It's a British Rail axe, or an ex-British Rail axe, as we know. What we want to know is who's owned one like that and doesn't have it now.
Right,
please call us. We've had very few calls on that.
And then there was the murder of a 16-year-old boy in London, Ho A Long.
Yes, 2 possible leads, Sue. One is from a woman who says a boy called her saying he knows who the killer is. We'd like that boy, obviously, to call here. He's told the woman he's frightened to call the police. Well, if you don't want to speak to us, please ring the studio here. There are BBC researchers who will take your call. It's imperative that you get in touch. And the second lead concerns a brawl at Charing Cross Station on the night that Ho A Long went missing. If you were involved in a brawl at Charing Cross Station, then please call us, because we want to eliminate the people involved there, especially if Ho A Long is not involved.
Right. Now, the next case was the man who was wanted for 2 rapes in Colchester last December, and then there was a possible link with a rape in September in Grays in Essex.
Yes, we showed an artist's impression in relation to this, compiled by the victims of the first 2 rapes. A number of possible identifications on who that might be, including 2 people who've called up suggesting a window cleaner. They've called separately, and that may well prove fruitful. A request, of course, to see the picture again, and let's hope that that brings some more information.
I know we've also had some leads on the murder of Ray Anstey, the club steward in Plymouth, who was murdered.
Yes, we were concerned about a ring and a lighter that went in that particular job. What we want to do as well is to find out what's happened to that ring since the crime. It's got a sunburst effect on it and a stone in the corner, so please call us on that one still.
And finally, those lovely bronze animal sculptures stolen from the Edinburgh Festival. Any news on those?
Yes, these were sculpted by Sally Arnott. We've had half a dozen calls to Edinburgh, including the location of where they might be being stored and also, of course, where they could be on sale. If you recognise anything like this in silver or in bronze, still give us a call.
Sounds like there could be a relief for Sally there. Let's hope so. Nick?
Well, that's it for now. If you've any information, we'll give you local numbers in a moment. They're all on CFAX, incidentally, on page 186. Of course, you can always write to us at Crimewatch UK, BBC TV, London W12 8QT. And we'll have more news of developments on Open Air tomorrow morning, and indeed in next month's Crimewatch. Incidentally, that's on Thursday, the 8th of December. Meanwhile, don't have nightmares, do please. Sleep well. Good night.
Good night.